What it is, what it do, y'all? It's your boy Scotty P back with another one. Hey, if you ain't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and go ahead and comment down in the comment section. You feel me? Where you from? And we're gonna go ahead and get into this discussion, right? Today's topic of discussion, we are talking about men in the home, right? And I, I really think this is important because we don't talk about it. Let's just be honest. We want to talk about everything else except this topic. And I think it's highly overlooked because, you start to see not only the women stepping up more and doing more things now, the women working, the women doing everything. They working, they cooking, they taking care of the kids. But what is the role of the father coming? You feel me? Where do we step in? So let's talk about it. Yeah, so let's get into it. So the other day, I had a conversation with my mom about my daughter, right? And I'm not gonna get into too much details about that one. However, I will say this. When I talked to my mom about the situation, she explained to me, you gotta be careful how you escalate your voice as a man to your daughter. And I was like, but I treat my kids all the same, I talk to her the way I talk to my son. And, obviously there's gonna be a little bit of grace there, right? Because, my girl is a little bit more emotional compared to my son. And, they handle their emotions differently, right? But then my mama hit me with this great point. She said this, y'all. She said, be careful how you escalate your voice to your daughter. And she said, this is the reason why. And she actually used the word yell, right? But stay with me. And she said, be careful how you yell at your daughter, right? Because what you don't want her to do is to grow up seeking after, or not seeking after, but getting into relationships with other dudes, who escalate their voice, and then she tenses up and then is reminded or is triggered, oh shoot, I need to straighten up and I need to submit to this man because he yelled at me. Oh, say what? And she said, imagine if your daughter came back to you and said, yeah, my boyfriend or my husband yelled at me, and I don't really know how to take that, but it's all because of you, Dad. When you was in the house and you was raising me up, that's all you ever did. You yelled at me or whatever. You escalated your voice because you had an issue with me, or because you got frustrated. You got to the point of frustration that ultimately made you raise your voice at me. And then she hit me with this point. She said, you also need to ensure that you're not always yelling at your son too. And I said, okay. And she said, because at the end of the day, you don't want your son getting into a relationship, right, with a female, and then he's raising his voice at her, expecting her to submit to him what he's asking her, or what he's asking from her. And then if he don't get his way, then he just start popping off because he's frustrated. Again, oh wait. You feel me? So I'm like, man. And I'm just sitting there like puzzled and mind blown because I didn't think about it that way. In my mind in that moment, I was just sitting there like, well, you know what? My daughter deserves this escalation from her father because, she's consistently ignoring my request and not understanding my request and why I'm asking her to do certain things, or why I'm asking her not to say certain things, and even bring up certain things, right? So this is very, very, very important, y'all. Like when I say that struck a nerve within me, but in a good way. I think this is why I'm bringing this topic to the forefront, because it brought me back to the why, fathers are important in the home. What tone do we set? What foundation do we create? A lot of times we don't think about that. We just like, oh, we the father, we supposed to be the protectors, we supposed to be the head, we supposed to be leading. And, sometimes it even gets a little prideful, like, hey, I'm the head of the house. Don't you disrespect me. You disrespect me, I'm gonna raise my voice and I'm gonna do this and yada yada yada, whatever else we men be doing, right? But it's important, right? It brings you back to the why we're important. What actions do you take that impacts your children? So then, after she said that, we had that discussion, we finished that discussion, and when she left the house, immediately I began to just start taking notes and writing it down, because I didn't want to forget that important lesson. And I want to encourage y'all too, right? Men, get you a notebook. Excuse me, I ruined this, y'all. Get you a notebook, because whenever you are given, important information that'll help build you, it's something that you can go back to, you feel me, that you could be reminded of. So I wrote this stuff down in my notebook, and then immediately I felt impressed to pick up my Bible, and before I even opened up the Bible, the scripture hit me. Ephesians 6:4. Hey, fathers, do not anger your children. Do not make them mad. And obviously I kept reading through it, right? But that alone, that first part, right? Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. And when I thought back, when I read that scripture, or heard the scripture, then read the scripture, it really brought me back to the conversation I had, or the situation that I had with my own daughter. And I was like, man, she did tell me that I angered her, and she shut down. She wouldn't talk to me. I didn't understand, why she shut down and why she didn't talk to me, but I do know I angered her. So I'm like, okay, stuff is downloading down. Okay, I get it. So with that being said, y'all, it leads me to prompt y'all with this question. What are you as fathers doing in your home, right, to enable your children to communicate with you? Or what are some things that you are currently doing that impact your children to make them shut down, right? What is it that you do that you may not recognize, that makes your children shy away from you or run away from you, and feel like they can't open up? We got to get back to the why, fellas. We got to get back to the why, okay? If we're not focused on why our kids are doing or acting a certain way, if we're not focused on why we're important, if we're not daily and consistently figuring out what we can do to be better as men, to actually be leaders of our home, what are we doing? What are we doing? What we really do, I'll tell you what we're doing. We are tearing down our household. Instead of building the foundation, instead of setting up a platform for them to, have some peace in their life, to talk about what they feel, to talk about what they're going through, we are really building a foundation of destruction. And eventually that destruction is going to cause us to self-destruct. You feel me? So, hey, man, like, comment, subscribe, and for real, put in the comment section and answer those questions. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing in your household to enable your children to open up to you? Or what are some things that, you've been impressed upon, or that, matter of fact, I need to choose a different word. Not impressed, but what have you been challenged, right, about Is it your attitude? Is it your tone? Is it how you conduct yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's okay. This is a safe platform. There is no judgment passed here. Scotty P is not perfect, let me tell you. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not perfect in any way. But what are you doing, right? To better yourself, to better your home, and be leaders of your household to make it better. Let's go.